Okay. So, I gave this to you well, at least a couple of weeks ago, and I just want to point out some stuff in here. On your real exam on June 11th, you're going to have a book 1 and a book 2. Book 1, you're going to have part of that will include the calculator type of questions, and then after that, after a certain period of time, when we give you the book number 2, you can't have your calculator at all.
Even if you haven't completed the parts that you do need it? Even if you can not
Yeah,
complete it?
yeah, you can't go back to those, you can't go back. Okay, so you can still hold on to your book 1, because book 1, there are still some questions that you have to go through, right? But after that, the time is up, then you're gonna be moving on to non-calculator type of questions. And then honestly, you'll probably see why there's no calculator, right? Because you can't really put them in a calculator. Okay, so I did work out some stuff in here, and I think maybe because somebody had asked me before, what we're gonna do is we'll just go through some of these questions. We have several provincial exam in here to kind of just get us just practicing, getting used to the style of the questions, the feel of it, and yeah, overall idea of how these questions are stated. Okay, yeah, so is there anything in particular that you want us to take a look at?
That question 7, and I had a question about question 13. Like when you fully factor it out, you know how it gives you x plus 4, but you factor out another x plus 4. Is it okay to square it? Or should I write that x plus 4?
I guess I did it already. This one?
That one? No, 13.
Oh, 13. I'm sorry. I thought you said 14. 13, like here?
Yeah. See,
Okay.
like it factors down out to that. Is it okay to just square it because it gives you the one?
Yeah. That's okay. Yeah, that's actually perfect. That's, yeah. It has to be squared, right? Because if we just, let's give that one a try. Yeah, if you just put x plus 4 times whatever the other binomial, if you multiply them out, that's not gonna get to the p of x, right? So yeah, you do need to have that x plus 4 there. So in this particular case, they said that given that there's an x plus 4, what is one of the factors? So this is from booklet 1, 13. Okay, so we already know that x plus 4 is one of the factors, so that means you can do a long division if you want, or you can do a synthetic division if you want to figure this out. Now I see that there's already a trick to this, right? Because the p of x is equals to x cubed plus 6x squared plus 0x minus 32, and we have to put this place value there. Okay, that's one of the tricky questions. So we know that it's going to be x plus 4 is a factor, so that means we can divide it by negative 4, right? So if x plus 4 equals to 0, so that means x must be negative 4, and I'm going to put negative 4 there. So I'm just using a synthetic division here. That gives us 1, 6, 0, negative 32. So make sure that the 0 place value is there. So how do we do that? We bring down the 1, and then we multiply these two, so that's going to give you negative 4. And then add, right? So that's going to give us a 2. This times this, that's going to give us a negative 8, add, so negative 8 there. Negative 8 times negative 4 is positive 32. That makes it remainder 0. And it has to, for sure, have a remainder 0, right? Because if there is a remainder, that means this is not, it doesn't divide evenly. So this makes sense that you get a 0. So what does that tell us? It's x squared plus 2x minus 8. Okay, so far we have the x plus 4 times this. And that's what this is. Now, this one, again, you can do the just factoring it out because it's just a trinomial, basic trinomial. That's x plus 4, x plus 4, x minus 2. And that's what p of x is. P of x. So p of x, you can write it as x plus 4. Nope. I forgot the x minus 2. If I just write it like that, it's just going to be, it's not going to be that p of x, right? So make sure we put the other x plus 4. Or what Ashley had said, yes, you can do this.
Because you know when we
It's the same
square,
thing.
sometimes when we see a square, it's like a multiplicity.
Yeah, multiplicity, and then you're thinking like there's a bounce there. That's, yes. Mm-hmm.
So it's still okay to do
Mm-hmm.
that. Okay.
That's still okay. Yeah. Yeah. So when you're like looking at the graphing of this, that's the x-intercept at negative 4, but it bounces at that particular point. Exactly. Okay, awesome. Anything else?
Question,
What did we say?
that one with 100 degrees, that one, the very first question.
Very first question. Okay, let's look at the very first question, question 1. So I'm hoping that you've tried these questions already, right? So it says here, pushes his car into the garage. The radius of the tire is 22 centimeters. Determine the distance traveled by his car if the tire rotated 1,000 degrees. So in this case, determine the distance traveled. So that's basically the S is equals to theta R, right? So let's see. Did they give that? I thought they did. Yeah, it's right here. It's on our formula sheet, right? S is equals to theta R.
So we just convert that
Yeah.
into radian?
Exactly. So this one here, S is the, I was like tying it to the circumference before, but the total distance all the way around, going around theta, but this theta has to be in radians. Okay, so that's, if you take a look at this, it's worth 2 marks, so there's probably other things that needs to be dealt with before just doing that. So the first thing is for us to do the conversion. Okay, so it's going to be theta is equals to 1,000 degrees. How do you change that into radians?
You times it by pi divided by 180.
Correct. Right. So it's going to be pi over 180 degrees, and then you know that the degrees would cancel, and then you're going to have basically 1,000 pi over 180. Now, it's okay to put that in there right away if you want, or we can reduce it, right? So this becomes 100 pi over 18, and you can keep going until it's completely reduced. They can be divided by 2, so that becomes 50 pi over 9. We're going to get the same amount, right? And it says here, determine the distance traveled if the tire is rotated 1,000 degrees. So it's going to be either one of those that you put in. 50 pi over 9. And the radius is 22 centimeters. Okay, this one we can use a calculator, so let's go ahead and do that.
We should express it as a number. We should express it as
For this one, let me see. Let me see if I can. I think we could just write this in like that. Let me just double check. Because this one here.
I just did
Which is June 2018.
I just did 3 decimal places.
Okay. 2 decimal place, 3 decimal places. 3 has to be 3.
We can't express it as an exact term.
Let me just double check. Okay, so I just want to show you that there's this. Yeah, you can leave it like this, or we can do the 1100 pi divided by 9, 383.972. What's our unit?
Centimeters.
Centimeters, because it's a distance traveled, right? So centimeters, and this is also centimeters. Okay, so in this case, yeah, you can leave it like that, or you can leave it, or you can do it 3 decimal places. That's okay. Okay, so 1 mark. Okay, just to kind of tell you how the breakup of the marks. It's 1 mark for this, and then 1 mark for either one of these. That's how the mark is going. Okay? Okay. What else have you tried and kind of wondering how to do?
Questions 6 and 7.
6 and 7. Is that a that's our lesson yesterday, right? Oh, okay. So it's a binomial expansion. Determine and simplify the 6th term. The 6th term. So let's see. We can do this. Okay. Now our n value here, and I can see it's 3 marks. So that's a big deal, right? We don't want to waste our 3 marks. Okay. So our n is 9. So we know we want the 6th term. So that means term 6. And on our formula, and I just want to always go back here, because I want you to be aware on what formula is here.
Can we rip that out?
Yeah, you can rip it up.
Does this one be the NCKX and minus K1, right?
Yeah,
And
that's
we can
the
just
one.
skip right to term 6 since we're just being asked for that 1 term, right?
Yes, yeah. You can just do that specific thing. So it says here, determine and simplify. Not just determine, but we have to make sure it's simplified. Right? Now I'll show you what that means and how far you need to go. Okay, what's our formula again? Our formula is this, right? So, oops, you can't see that. So term k plus 1, and then nck, an minus kb, k. So I'll just write that down as our formula. So tk plus 1 equals to nck a n minus k b k. Okay, so this is where it's gonna tk plus 1. So you want the k value plus 1, k plus 1 to match 8 to 6. Okay, so what would that be? So k has to be 5. And these are the ones that we're going to be considering. Okay, so make sure that we're aware of that one. So T6. Okay, so N, our N is 9, C, K, so that's 5. A, what's my A? A would be 2 over x squared to the exponent n minus k. N, 9 minus 5, which is 4. And B is negative x cubed to the power of k, which is 5. So these two exponents always have to add up to 9, right? The n value. And then from here, so this is determining it. That's the first part of doing that. But then we have to make sure we have to simplify fully. So term 6 is equals to 9c5. And I have a calculator to use in here. Okay, so let's do that. So 9c5 is 126. Okay. Now, 2 over x squared to the exponent 4. So what would that be? 2 to the 4 would be 2, 4, 8, 16. So that's 16 over x to the x squared to the 4, which is x squared to the 8. Yeah. And then this is going to be negative 1. What's negative 1 to the 5? Negative 1, right? And then x cubed to the 5, that's going to be x to the 15. Okay, now how do we do this? Keep going. Now I have 126 times 16 times negative 1. So 126 times 16 times negative 1. It's going to be negative 2016. What would be the exponent? X to the 7th, right? Because it's x to the 15 divided by x to the 8. When it's being divided, the power is being divided with the same base, we subtract the exponent. So that's going to be x to the 7th. And that's our answer. Okay? So that one is worth 3 marks, and I'll show you where the 3 marks is coming from. Hold on for a second. Let's see. Question 6. 2 marks. Okay. 2 marks for all of these. 2 marks for this part here, determining the pieces, and then 1 mark for the final answer.
Do you mark our tests?
Yes, I do. Yeah.
Just you? Or you and
Just me.
Or you just mark your guys' class?
I mark my own class, yeah.
Are these pens acceptable, or should I get a pencil?
Pen is okay.
Okay,
Yeah.
erasable.
Yeah.
Okay.
You like writing in pen?
I prefer it.
Oh, okay. Then I'm okay with that. Yeah, it doesn't say here, right? Must write in pencil.
As soon as I'm wondering, say this potential and everything.
As far as I know. I always write in pencil because I always have to erase something. But, yeah, I'm okay with that. Okay, anything else that you want us to take a look at? 7?
7 and 2. And
7 and 2?
2, 3, and 7,
Okay, let's go to 7. We're already here. Okay, this is 1 mark. And then this is starting to have like, okay, question number 7, you don't see a calculator in here, right? It means no calculator allowed. Well, you really can't use a calculator. Right? So what do you call this one? F of 0. Composition. Yeah. Yeah. So you have a function, and then whatever the value of that function, we use that to figure out the next function. So you start from the inside out. So here, this is your x value, and then f of 0, that would be your y value. So this is your x, f of x. Okay? Is that good? Your x and y combination would be x, f of x, or x, y. Is that good? So, okay, start from inside out.
We're just adding them?
Okay, now I'll do it here, because I know the answers are over here already. What's f of 0? If x is 0, what is the value of the function f of 0? Okay, if x is 0, f of 0 is 2. Ooh, yeah. This is 0, and then this is f of 0. And this is -1. This is going to be f of -1. Okay. It's a functional notation. So f of 0 is 2. So I'm going to put 2 here, but I still have f here. Okay, now the second f. What's f of 2? F of 2. What would it be? 4. So if this is 2, then f of 2 is 4. Yes?
Yeah.
So that's the chapter where we had to do the composition of function, adding, multiplying, dividing. I can't remember the chapter number. I think that's like chapter.
We did
Is
that
it
one
number
right
4?
before trade.
Is it before trig?
So basically, the way to think about it is that
Yes, yeah, before trig.
the f value that's inside the brackets becomes the new x value to the f that's
Correct. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
you kind of work it like that outwards. It's like if it was like a big long one where it's like g is 0 and then whatever that is, then if there's like an h to h, the whatever g0 is become the new x value, and then that would be the line you just keep working out until you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. But this one here, we're just using the f of x, right? I think in the other things that we talked about, you have 2 functions, right? You have the function f that you talked about, and then function h or g, and then whatever answer you get here, you use that to figure out the next. Yeah, that's right.
Did you tell us where the answers are online?
Yes, I'll show it to you.
Okay.
Okay.
Uh,
Yeah, that's what I was wondering.
It's actually on the blog. I will show you how to get into the answer key. So on the weekend. Okay, so where are we at? Number 2. Oh, look at this, your favorite.
Oh yeah, that's 7.
Yeah. So question. It says here solve. What does it mean by solve? Yeah, we're gonna figure out what the value of x is so that the left side is equal to the right side. That's what it means by solve. And then you see here 2 marks. And I know that I shouldn't be really, focusing on the marks, but I think it's important too, because that's kind of will guide you on figuring out if this is a 1 mark question. It might be it's not a lot of work, but if it's like 3 mark question, there's probably a lot of work involved, right? So here, how can we solve this one here? Can we make the same base?
No.
No. So, can we make or write as same base? The answer would be no, right? Because 7 and 85. So what we're gonna do, because we can't do that, we have to take the log of both sides. So take log of 7 to the exponent x over 2 log of 85. Okay. I want to make sure, emphasizes that x over 2 is an exponent, okay? So we can't use that to cross multiply. This is an exponent. Okay. Now, we have used the logarithm rules to kind of simplify and isolate some stuff. So what can we use for this?
Move the exponent.
Move the exponent where? The front, right? And that becomes your number at the front here. So it's x over 2 times log of 7 equals to log of 85. Okay. What's next? Oh, now that we've moved this x over 2 here, it's no longer an exponent, so we can cross multiply that to there. Okay, so that becomes x log 7 equals to 2 times log of 85. And then, what are we going to do next?
Divide out the log.
Divide the log 7. Log 7. That cancels. And it's, yeah, like I don't think we could do this without the calculator. So at this particular point, we can just use our calculator. Okay.
I
I'm not sure.
divided out the log before I cross multiplied the 2.
Oh yeah, that's okay.
Okay.
Yeah, you should get the same thing. .566, and that's about it, right? So what's the 2 marks there? Let me see. Question 2 marks would be 1 mark or half a mark for applying logarithm rules, half a mark for doing this. This is 1/2. So by doing that, you get your half mark. And then 1 mark for the power law, putting this exponent there over here, so that's 1 mark. And then another half a mark for, yeah, final answer. So 1 mark for all of these p's. Okay, so that makes it your 2 marks.
1 mark for the easy step. 1 mark for the easy step. Just remembering to pull it forward.
Oh, 1 mark for doing all these.
Okay.
Yeah, and then half a mark just for that one. Evaluating the quotient of logarithms. Okay, so that's it? And 3. Okay, well 3, I already wrote on the answer here for, okay, let's just walk through this. Oh yeah, okay, so there's a calculator here. It means we're allowed to use a calculator. Oh my goodness, 4 marks. Okay, it means there's quite a bit of stuff involved in this, a lot of information. So I'm going to try to just cover that piece. We're going to try to solve this algebraically and over the interval from 0 to 2 pi. So whatever our answers are, our angles should be within 0 to 2 pi. So sine of x secant x plus 3 equals 0. Okay. Can we solve that one?
Mostly count as one.
So 1 over cos, okay, yeah. So we can say, well, this is already kind of like in a factored form, right? It's already in a factored form, so we can just say sine of x equals to 0, and then secant x plus 3 equals to 0. So secant x equals to -3. And then from here, yeah, because this is already factored, this one, this is our special angle. Yes? Right? Where is the sine 0? Sine is 0 in here and here, right?
0 and pi?
0 and pi. Actually have a different strategy in solving this piece. Okay. Probably 2 different ways. Okay, so it's gonna be 0 and pi. And then over here, secant of x is equals to -3. Well, that's the same thing as secant is the same thing as 1 over cos. 1 over cos of x equals -3. So if you were to cross multiply that, so cos of x equals to -1/3.
Yes, this is where you need your calculator.
Yeah, we're allowed to use a calculator. And then we have to look at where is cos of x equals to -1/3. Yeah, so it's going to be in quadrants 2 and quadrant 3, right? Okay. So the first thing that we can do is we can figure out the reference angle. So reference angle, cos inverse of 1/3. So it has to be in radians. So make sure your calculator is in radians because it's 0 to 2 pi. It's 1.23. 1.231, so that's this one here. So that means in quadrant 2, it's gonna be pi minus 1.231 is 1.911. Did I not get the same thing? And then the other one is pi plus 1.231. Okay. Now we have to take a look at the so it looks like we have x being 0, pi 1.911, 4.373. Okay. Are there any restrictions in here?
2 pi. Up to 2 pi.
None, yeah, so are they all within 0 to 2 pi? Yeah, 0 to 2 pi, that would be from 0 to 6.28. Okay, we're okay.
When you
And, okay, go ahead.
when you inversed it, you didn't put the negative in?
No, I didn't, because I just wanted to do a reference angle, which is over here.
So you look for
And then
that
I
first?
just use a reference angle.
'Cause
But if you don't do it, right, you're going straight to this, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's okay.
So then just remember to
Yeah.
get the reference for the next.
It's either you can do this part here, figure this out first, that's gonna give you this, but then you would have to figure out your reference angle anyway to figure out the quadrant 3. Okay, and these are all radians. Non-permissible value, are there any non-permissible values in here? Secant, that means 1 over cos, can't be 0. Where's cos 0? At 90 and here, right? And 270, so, oh, they're okay. Why did I get that? Oh, I know what my mistake is. Okay. I should erase this one. Okay, is that good?
I didn't see what you got.
I don't know.
Oh, no.
I didn't see what we did.
Which one?
But then, do we just fix something?
Hmm?
Do we just fix something?
No, I had like 1 over here, but then I realized where my mistake is. My
So
mistake
x
was, yeah,
X equals 0, pi 1.911 r
4.373. Yeah, so I can see why, it's 4 marks, because there's quite a bit of stuff that needs to be figured out, right? Okay, so let me see the breakdown of marks in here, see what counts. You want to know what counts in here? It's 4 marks. Okay. Yep. Oh, what's that? Question 8 would need a calculator? Oh, without calculator. Oh, sure. Okay. I'll go to that one in a second, but I just want to point out what counts here as 4 marks. Yeah, remind me. So half a mark is for solving for secant, so half a mark for this and this. Half a mark, so that makes it 1 mark over there, breaking it up. Well, that's not too bad, right? Everybody could do that. And then over here, this is 1 mark for reciprocal, so that's 1 mark. This is half. And then 2 marks for the values of x, for 1 mark for each branch. So 2 marks for all of these. So that makes your 4 marks altogether. Is that good? Number 8, how do you do that without the calculator? Oh. Okay, so got it written down in here. So point, yeah, this one here doesn't say calculators, that means we should be able to do this without, right? So the point, and another trigonometric questions. The point -5 over 6, B is on this unit circle, okay, unit circle, and is in quadrant 3. Okay, so we know that the x, or the cos of the angle, cos is negative, and we know it's quadrant 3. So cos is negative, so it could be here or here, But then they said it's quadrant 3, so we know it's definitely here. So this particular point would have a negative 5/6 as for your x, and then for your y would be your b. Now because it's in a unit, it's on a unit circle, that means it's going to be radius is 1 or the hypotenuse is 1. So from here what we can do is just apply the formula sine squared x plus cos squared x equals to 1. And this is on your formula sheet, right? Sine squared x or theta, that's right here. So from there, if we're looking for sine, this is the cos, the x, and then the y is the sine. So sine squared of x is going to be 1 minus negative 5/6 squared. And then that one could be simplified. Now you're going to come up to plus or minus root of 11 over 36, right? Now because this is in quadrant 3, then that means, yeah, it has to be a negative as well. Yeah. So this. So don't stop there, but go further down. Wow, all of that for 1 mark. For at least 2, I'm not sure.
Can it be in quadrant 2 as well? Since
Oh yeah, it could be a quadrant 2, but then they said specifically quadrant 3. Yep, that's all right. No, I think this is the, yeah.
and then the final answer is negative 11
Over 6, yeah.
For the graphs, do they want us making the new graphs on the graph below, or can we just do it on this one?
Oh, which one?
For 11, I didn't notice
11?
the original graph.
It says here, given the graph f of x, which is this, sketch the graph of this with the transformation, right?
Yeah.
Now, what they did here is that this is where your graph is going to be, but they already kind of gave you a sketch of exactly the same thing as that one, but in a lighter version. So you have it written here as well. Okay, so the graph of f of x has already been drawn as a reference in here, right? This is the exact same one above, and so no marks will be awarded for the graph of f of x.
So 3 marks just to sketch it?
Yeah, 3 marks to sketch it.
You don't have to point out any specific points, or no specific points need to be pointed out.
There will be some points that needs to be pointed out. Like for example, this one here, if we're gonna use some mapping, then we can use the specific points that they have. You can even use this point here. That's our points. Our original XY. And this is nice because they kind of gave us a grid already, and the scale. It's going to be negative 3, 1. That's going to be 0, 1, 2, negative 2. Okay, so using this and then figuring out what's going on with this new graph, right? So this one you have to know it's going to be x over b plus h comma, a times y plus k. Okay, so we're gonna figure out what those values are, and then you can use the mapping to figure out where the other points are. Okay? Is that good? And I can see some people have tried some, which is great. It's nice to see that you're trying them. I'm gonna pause right here for now. I'm gonna give you an opportunity to try some of the questions that you have, that you haven't tried before. So that's just booklet 1. Okay, so if you're done booklet 1, you can keep going with booklet number 2. Yeah, and then I'll give you an opportunity to just do things on your own, and then we can come back again and say, oh yeah, what are we gonna do for these questions if you have questions. Okay.